work on using the website editor. So a lot of people have been asking about how to use the tools in there, and I'm going to try to give you a simple breakdown on how to do this. So starting from your dashboard here, okay, if you're a beginner, you're basically going to log into your account, go right in here, and you'll have all these different tiles, and the one we want to look at is websites. So I'm going to click on the website. So here is where all your websites would be listed, okay? Each one of your websites is each one of these here, with each one of them having a domain, okay? If you want to always change your domain name, you'd click on edit and change your domain, and then what page you want it to be going to. So you'd hit save on that. So now you'll know down here, it's going to your specific page here, okay? So we're going to skip over that and go right straight down to the page we're going to work on today is this one. We're going to go to the home page. Load the page here. Okay, so this is your editor here. This is where basically we can edit anything on the page. If you want to edit in mobile, you click on this desktop thing here and it'll convert it over to mobile. Then you can begin to do your editing on mobile. Most of the content is already set for mobile. You might have to do some minor changes here and there, but when we add things, it generally updates for mobile pretty quickly and most of the things. So as we go through this, we'll kind of check that out. So to make this simple, I'm going to create a separate complete container. So what is a container? If I hover over any specific block area, you'll see a blue tab come up with a number of different things here. This is what's called a container. And you'll know it's a container because it has this little mark here where you can see a pencil and some lines. Okay. What this allows us to do is click on this and just do a focus mode on only that container. Okay. So to undo this, so if you see your you go back to your website and you don't see anything there, don't panic. It's because you have the focus mode on. So we're going to undo the focus mode and it'll bring back the website for you. So right now we're going to add a completely different new container to work with so that you can see how all these are added. So we're going to click on the plus sign from a container, click on plus, and it's going to bring you to the marketplace with this different variety of different layouts and things you can add to your page. Most of the time I just use a blank one, and that's where it defaults to. I'm going to click on add to home page. May take a little bit for it to load it up and add it on. So now we're going to have a blank sheet added to the page. So this is that right here. We've kind of pre-added some boxes for you to make it kind of simple. So I'm going to click on the focus mode so we can only see this box here. Okay, so if I hover anywhere in the container, I'm going to have the outside container here. Okay, then there's an inner container, so called section inner. And within that is where you start putting your content. So then we're going to go down to what's called a column. So this can be up to 1 to 4 columns. So right here we have a 1 column section where we can just add stuff in 1 column. Over here we have a 2 column section. Okay, 1 column 2. And if you want 3, you would just go and add from the green section, which adds your rows or columns. Okay, so you go to the plus sign, you can do, I want to add a 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Let's just add a 4 just for the fun of it to show you. So now we have 4 columns here we can work with. So we got 2 columns, 4 columns, 1 column here. For the sake of this video, we're just going to stick with 1 column right here to make it simple. So I'm just going to delete this column. And I don't think I'm meaning this 2 one right now. We'll just leave that and delete it so we can start from scratch on that. Down below here is just basically the footer of your page. We're not going to mess with that right now. So again, we got the outer container, the inner container, and then in here we start having our columns. So we have 1 column, and inside of here is a purple container, which we're going to be talking about next, that then has our text in it. So to understand why we have 2 containers, we got the outer container and the inner container. I'm going to give the example of adding a background color. Okay, so if I add a background color, let's say of that, and then I add it to, I'm going to select all, copy this right here. I'm going to paste it over here. So now the background and the hover are the same colors. I'm going to hit save. So I'll move this into the screen here so you can see this. So up here is where you save your content. You got save, which will save it instantly, or save and preview will then refresh the page. That's the only difference between those. If you want to see a fresh view, you go to preview. If you want to just save quick, you save there. Okay, so going back in here, you'll notice it says match from mobile is blinking. To make the same colors head to mobile, just click on this little mobile button here. And now we go back to backgrounds and we see our colors there. So the reason I'm showing you this is the background. Let's say like I want the inner to be white. You'll see this on a lot of web pages. So I go to inner and I go to white. Okay. And I hit save. And I'm going to save it to mobile because that's what I want on mobile as well. And then I'm going to make the width a full 100%. Save. So now we can see that we have a background of gray and a white container middle. Okay. Next, we have our columns. Okay, so we're going to go into column 1. All right, same can happen. So you get the styling feature, which we could put a background of maybe a little lighter color. Okay, a little lighter. All right, and I'm going to select all, copy that, and paste it over here. To kind of match those two colors is going to be pretty tricky. So I just basically click on here a couple times and hit the Control-C on a Mac. I'm not sure what that is on a PC. And then I click over here, select all of that, and paste in there so that they're the same. So now they're the same. However, if you want this one to be a little darker, when you hover over it, you just kind of change the color a little bit. Hit preview. Now if we go over that, it's going to be a different color when we hover on it. Okay. Now again, it's got to match to mobile. So we'll switch that over to mobile. Okay. Some of the features you can do here, you can make this a little smaller. If you want to drag it to be a little smaller, you can add a background to it if you want to add a background. Okay. For now, we're going to leave it blank. So going to go to free images and click no image. That'll leave it blank. And then down here, we've got a gradient if you want to add a gradient. So let's say I want to add a red to a blue, a purple. All right, it'll add the gradient, and then you can roll the gradient any way you want here. That's how you use a gradient tool. Okay, to show the gradient, you have to put it to yes. Okay, if we wanted to add a drop shadow on the outside of the container, so click on the drop shadow, and then choose the color of the drop shadow. Okay, so if I hit preview, you'll see now there's a drop shadow on there. Okay, and the gradient I just added, we have to put it to yes. Hit preview. So now you can see we have a gradient in here, we got a drop shadow there, and then we have text inside of here. So we get the container, the inner container, which is another blue. The green is where the rows are. Okay, and then we have the rows themselves, or the columns. I keep change that. A column. So the one column, two column. Okay, so if I wanted to add two columns, again, I go to the green, and now I've got two columns. So let's say I want this column to be this color. Hit save, add to mobile. And I want this one to be green. Go to the column 2. Green. Again, select all, copy, paste, save, and put it to mobile. So you can see now we got some pretty flexible things we can do here. Okay, so let's say we want to now add text. Okay, so we want to add text in here. Text or any kind of element that's put on the page is in a purple box. So if there's no boxes visible, you'll have a little purple circle here. Then over here to the right, you can choose what element you want. So I'm going to put text box. Click add. And now we have text in here. Well, you can't see it because it's black. So I'm going to click on the styler. And we're going to make that text white. Okay. Hit save. Go to mobile. Make sure it's done on mobile as well. All right, so you can see it's on mobile right there. You can see how it's the same and it's not blinking. All right, maybe you want the size to be a little bigger. And maybe want to change the font. Okay. You can do, again, you can do font thickness. You can do transformation just like a regular Word document. You can do borders. Okay. You can do backgrounds if you want to put a background color on the font. Okay. So now we have the text inside of the container. All right. And now we want to add more text. So you have a decision to make. Do we want the text to be in the same purple box? And the reason I say that is because maybe you want that text to have a certain background color. Okay. So if I want to just add text, you just stay in the text container itself, which is the orange, and you decide what you want. Do you want a headline or a paragraph? It's now going to add that paragraph to the page. Okay. Now again, that's white. We want to be added white. What's great about this too, in this tool, that you'll find enjoyable, is it will save your colors. Any color you use, it's going to save it to your palette here so that you can go and make sure you still have it for the next time you want to use it. So again, it's barking at me on the here. Make sure the mobile is the right color. Okay. So now we have that in there. So we have text. Let's say we wanted to add something else in there, maybe an image. So now you would go to the purple box. Okay. Purple holds elements, and you go to the plus. We have a simple thing to put a video, image, text, bullet list, or button, or you can go to plus to add more other features, which we'll go into in another video. So right now we're going to add a video, an image. All right, it's going to add a simple image here. And we want this one to maybe just be over in the second column for now. So we're going to drag it by the dragger into the box over here. So because of how this has some intricacies with SEO and so on and so forth, these boxes are required, and the container stuff has to be dragged into its own type of box. So if you drag it and it doesn't go where you want to go, it's because it didn't go into that box. So I want to drag this back over here. I got to stay within this purple one, but I want it to be on the bottom of it, and it'll add it to the bottom. Okay. So dragging it into this one, which is empty, make sure it's inside the box. It can be a little tricky. All right, now we want to put an image in here. We have two ways to do this. We can go and look at our image gallery, go to backgrounds here, and we can select an image from our gallery. Okay. Or maybe we want to put a new image, and we want that image to be the same size as the text. So somebody was asking how I would do this. So what I would do on a Mac, I would go to Control-Shift-4, and you'll see this little thing come up here. Take that and drag it across the size of the image you want it to be. And I want it to be the same size. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to drag that into my photo program. Okay. And let's just say I slapped an image in there, and then I now size that image. Okay. And make sure there's no extras on it. So I want it to be just like that. Okay. And there we go. And I'm going to export it out. And again, everybody has a different thing that they use. I'm using this one as a JPEG. So I'm going to hit save and vote. Save it to my desktop. So if you took this picture from a phone, the image is going to have a lot of memory to it. So it's going to be like really, really a lot of pixels. So it would be very, very not a good idea to add it to your website because it'll make it load slow. There is a tool out there. Okay. I use what's called Cloud Convert. Okay. So you can take that image we now pulled out of Photoshop or your editor and add it in here. So add a file. So you go and create a free account or a paid account. I use this a lot, so I have a paid account. It's really, very cheap. And I want to add more images. And I'd go click my boat, and I want to convert it to a WEP. WEP will make it a very, very web-friendly, download fast kind of thing. Click convert. Okay. Download to the desktop. Now I see it's got the WEP at the end. Then I would go back to my website here, take my web photo and drag it right into here. And now I have the image to match my area. So if I go preview, so now I've got everything kind of lined up really nice here. Okay, so this is some of the things you can do. I'm going to get more complicated in another version of this video, but this is the basics, basically adding text and adding and using the containers themselves. Next, we'll kind of go into more of some other things like more detailed styling and so on and so forth. I hope this video helps.